Hello and welcome to Boozy Book Reports, a simple podcast where we visit childhood classics while drinking copious amounts of alcohol. We're your hosts, Beth
and Sam.
And this month we're reporting on Sideways Stories from Wayside School by Louis Sachar?
Sachar?
I don't know. First published in 1978. Listen, I know how to read. I don't know how to pronounce.
That's okay. And also, I don't think I ever said his name aloud. I just read this book as a kid.
Yeah.
That and Holes.
Yes. Oh, yep, he did Holes.
He did Holes.
So,
yeah.
Yes. I'm very excited to talk about this book. It was a pleasant surprise and one of your picks.
It was one of my picks. I feel maybe differently though.
Oh, interesting.
I know.
Oh, I'm excited for the conversation.
I know, me too.
Yeah, I do have to say there was only one major trigger warning, and was that there is some fat phobia in this book.
Yeah, that's the only one I would have said too.
But 1978,
yeah,
to be expected.
Also, a lot of kids punching people.
There's
adults.
There's a lot of violence. There's some violence.
Yeah, there's a little bit of violence, and there's some fat phobia.
Yeah, so anyway, but before we get into the book, we're going to get into these two amazing drinks Sam made us.
Yeah, so these ones are actually inspired by some of the characters in the book. So first, we're going to start with the Mrs. Gorf, which is our apple themed, which for, the readers, spoiler alert, it's our apple theme. So this is one I made up. So hopefully this is good. I haven't done this in a while.
It smells delicious.
That it does. Oh, it does.
Oh, yeah.
So it's Calvados, which is an French apple brandy. It's some lemon juice, some orgeat, which is like a vanilla almond syrup, and some allspice dram, which is like a nice fall spice. I don't know. It's in pumpkin pie. I know what it tastes like. Yeah,
okay.
Drink it.
Right. Huh.
I like it.
Okay.
You made a not even a face, a full visceral reaction.
It's tangy. It's actually good. And it's refreshing. It's just very tangy.
You like the tart ones, though.
I didn't say I didn't like this. It's like a Granny Smith caramel apple.
That is true. Yeah,
I
would say that. So we also line the glass with caramel, so that's also a little added fun.
It's good. It's something that's like, to me, it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a sip for me. And
I
it's
find
making
it quite
me warm.
light and refreshing.
Okay. I don't know how to
we have
describe it.
different tastes in alcohol.
But I feel like it's a refreshing drink, but it's heavy in the sense of like, I have to take it in small doses.
Okay, I think that's the allspice dram. So I tried to not go too heavy on it. Also, the allspice dram is like really nice. It gives you those like fall flavors or those like kind of like spiced flavors, but it can be overwhelming. So
it's good though. I'm going to say it's good.
Nice.
I would say like
maybe a little
old fashioned is on the I hate it end, and strawberry daiquiri is on the oh my gosh end, and this is like hitting, right of center, so closer to the daiquiri side.
Nice.
So it's good.
Not bad for one I made up in the car on the way over here.
I love your preparation. I mean, it's totally appropriate because school-age children.
Yeah, I'm cramming for the test.
Yes,
I crammed for the test. So I knew I wanted to do something apples. So I went to the liquor store here in the Tri-Cities, which is not as
robust.
Expansive
in Colorado.
No,
okay,
as Denver. But no, it was like it was pretty good. I was like, I was happy to find the allspice dram. I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to get it.
You talked about like, hey, like cutting up apples with this. I think that this would be a fun drink to have with like a caramel apple bar or something.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Agree.
I feel like that apple would really cut through the spice and be super. It's yummy.
I think you could also do something too where you like you can make the tartness of your apple. You can pick your apple.
Yeah.
Like, do you like a pink lady and just by different ratios of like lemon juice to sort of the the simple syrup that we used.
I also think this could be fun, like rimmed with like pie crust. I don't know how you do that.
Graham cracker. You can crush up a graham cracker, or you can do like pie crust is hard. But you could do like a pie crust cookie.
Pie crust cookie in this. Oh,
Anywho. So that's the Mrs. Goff. So the other one we have is called the Mauricia, and so she's also a character from this book. She is very much associated with ice cream, and so this is this is kind of going to be a heavy sweet one it's got some amaretto, it's got some spiced rum. We did almond milk because I have to fly later, and we're both lactose intolerant. Some creme de cacao. You could do. You could also do Kahlua or like a coffee liqueur if you wanted to spice it up. So yeah, full recipes online
on TikTok and Instagram.
Oh yeah,
not my favorite.
No. Oh, it's like a fun white Russian. Oh, you're doing full on kombucha, girl.
Yeah. Oh, it hits different. The aftertaste. I don't know.
I like it.
I like the end notes.
Yeah.
The top feels a little bit coffee-y to me, even though there's no coffee in it.
It could be the combo of the amaretto and the creme de cacao.
But it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It is good. You did
It's
two
like
good
latte.
cocktails. Yeah.
Yes.
It's giving latte. It's giving.
Might just be the texture too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get ripped off this one.
Ooh, that sounds so fun.
Yeah. It's delicious.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, we're going to jump into this book. I have some tidbits though.
Ah, yeah.
So this book actually spawned a whole series of books.
I know this because I read them.
Yeah.
I devoured these books as a kid.
There's 7 total.
Yeah.
And the last one was actually published in 2020.
I did not read that one. Because
You were a legit adult.
I was an adult. Not that this stopped me from reading it now.
No.
But yeah, I had other things to do in 2020.
Yeah. Well, you know, so we all did.
Busy.
It's a busy, different year. Another fun fact is that it actually became a Canadian produced animated series called Wayside.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch any episodes, but there you go. And then it was once on the American Library Association's list of banned children's book.
I did know that because I remember we saw like the ALA list when I think it must have been in middle school or high school. And we all went like, what? Wayside? Like, why Wayside? And so I don't know.
It was
you know?
challenged by an elementary school in Arizona because the book shows the dark side of religion through the occult, the devil, and Satanism.
Which chapters were those?
I couldn't figure it out. So anyway.
Which was it? The one with the talking rat?
Yeah, I think just in general, there's a little bit of fantasy to this. So I guess that equals fantasy equals magic, which equals Satan. So yeah.
I
mean, it was just one school, so but it's still on the list. So before we jump into all of the things, Sam is going to read, typically we read the back of the book, but Sam is going to read the intro because it lays out what this is all about very nicely.
This book contains 30 stories about the children and teachers at Wayside School. But before we get to them, there's something you ought to know so that you don't get confused. Wayside School was accidentally built sideways. It was supposed to be only 1 story high with 30 classrooms all in a row. Instead, it is 30 stories high with 1 classroom on each story. The builder said he was sorry. The children at Wayside like having a sideways school. They like having an extra large playground. The children and teachers described in this book all go to class on the top floor. So there are 30 stories from the 30th story of Wayside School. It has been said that these stories are strange and silly. That is probably true. However, when I told stories about you to the children at Wayside, they thought you were strange and silly. That is also probably true.
I love that so much. So like the intro said, this book is broken up to 30 chapters and one story for each one of the stories in the building. And so I picked some of my favorites. Sam picked some of hers, and we're just going to share.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, number 1 for me, maybe not my number 1 story, but my first story is the first story.
Yeah.
About the evil teacher who like...
Maybe that's the Satanism right here.
That's probably
the
Satanism,
evil...
yeah. So basically, this teacher is really mean. She hates children. She doesn't want to be a teacher. And whatever the children do, like, there's just one day where she's just like, I'm over it officially.
Yeah.
Like, she breaks.
She threatened them for years.
And then she's just like, I'm done. Her forked tongue comes out. Her ear twitches one way then the other. And then she turns them into apples.
Yeah.
And throughout the day, they just get all turned into apples. And the lovely recess man comes up a couple times like, oh, your students must love you because there's all these apples. And like
ignoring the disappearance of children.
Yes. And the first day it happens, like the children don't make it home. Like they're just on her desk. So I think there's like 2 or 3 of them. And the parents are just like, well, that's unfortunate. I wonder where they're at. Like there's no reason. And then like day 2, basically everybody becomes an apple.
Yeah.
And then all the children who are now apples, who still can talk and move, attack the teacher.
And roll onto her
until they force her to make them back into children. And then I can't remember what it was, if it was a mirror or whatever, but she then turns herself into an apple.
Yes.
Gets placed on her desk, and then the recess man eats her.
End of story.
End of story. I loved it. But I was a big fan of like the witches and like different stories like that growing up. So I love a witch story. Yes. I love a kid, winning via the power of apparently Satanism. Yes. So it was good.
That one, I did like that one. She is so evil.
Well, and I had never read these books before.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I had no idea what it was about. And I only knew this author from Holes, which I didn't read the book, but I saw the movie. So I was thinking it was going to be like.
It's dark. Holes is like it's a little bit on the, like, it's definitely young adult.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this one is like, okay, this is setting a tone. And then it just gets progressively.
It's absurd.
Yes.
Everything in every story in this book, which is I think why I liked it as a kid, is just absurdist humor.
Yeah.
It's just so silly. Like, imagine a teacher that actually hates children, and she turns them to apples.
My second grade teacher.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Sorry.
That part is probably not so unfamiliar, but like,
I mean, I'm very supportive of teachers. We love a good teacher.
Yay!
But every once in a while, there's a bad apple.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and then then she gets tricked by her own magic and gets eaten by the like recess teacher. So yeah,
it's very
absurd.
Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah,
very just like on par with all of that whole witches versus children.
That's kind of a funny way of thinking about this. This is just like a group about or a group of like modern day like fairy tales. Yeah, about modern kids at school. Yeah, absolutely
absurd. All right, give me one of yours.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the other teacher, Mrs. Jules, who is like kind of a terrible teacher.
She is. She's almost like, I won't say a gaslighter. She's like a.
I said gaslight several times in this book.
Well, because she just comes across so nice at first, and then it was like
she's like deeply oblivious to like many things.
Yes,
but like the story of her coming in, she comes in, she's the new teacher, and she's like worried that the students are gonna be, all the kids are gonna be too cute. She's just gonna think they're so cute.
Yeah, she flipped the switch on them because she was calling them monkeys and stuff.
Well, yeah, she like has a full like psychotic break because the children are too cute, and she's horribly afraid of cute children, and so she looks at them and she realizes that they're so cute that they could not possibly be children. They must be monkeys, and so she keeps talking to them. She's like, "I'm so sorry, I did not bring enough bananas for the children. Would you like peanuts? I have peanuts in my purse." And then there's another point where she like calls the kid. She's like, "The chimpanzee in the back row," and the kids are like, "We're not monkeys. Why is she this like lazy? Why is this lady talking to us like this?" And then she finally admits to them that you're much too cute to be children, because children are terrifying and should not be that cute. And then Todd makes a comment when she finally realizes that the children are children and not indeed monkeys, that he's very sad that he won't be given a banana, as she writes his name on the board under the discipline thing.
Poor Todd.
Todd
had a rough go at it.
Todd is one
book.
Of my favorite stories. I absolutely loved Todd.
I loved Calvin.
Yes.
So there's this point in Calvin, and basically he gets sent on a task by the new teacher to take a note to
Miss Zarves.
Yes. And on the 19th floor. And first of all, the teacher doesn't even hand him a note. He has no note, but she's like, "Go give her the note." And he's like, "All right." And he's like, "There's no 19th floor." So he just keeps going up and down, looking for this floor. I feel like he ended up going to the office because he's going to put the note in the teacher's mailbox, which is very resourceful and smart. I appreciate that. And there's no mailbox because there is no Mrs. Z. There is no 19th floor. There is no classroom there. He spends his whole day doing this, and then he goes back upstairs and he gets rewarded with the Tootsie Roll for letting Mrs. Z know that Miss Jules not going to be able to have lunch with her, and she's just so proud of him for accomplishing the task. And literally, as I'm reading that, I wrote down me at work.
Good job not doing the task I gave you, which was impossible to do in the first place.
Yeah, like, just running around doing things that don't exist.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, at one point he goes and talks to the to Louis, who is I assume the author.
Yes, he did. He based it on the character on himself. Who's the recessed man?
Yeah. And goes down and says, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to give this note to this Miss Zars, but there is no 19th floor. And he's like, "That's okay. You already did it.
Yeah.
Go back up."
Yep. It's like, okay.
It's like so nonsensical.
Yeah. But I don't know. It just was such a, like, to me, for a kid, that is such a good life lesson on what corporate America is really like. Like, it was so spot on for
corporate
me.
America, the national lab system, like many of your college, like anything.
Basically, just any part of being an adult is just running around, not knowing what you're doing, with nonsensical things
errands
that don't really matter.
Cannot be completed because they are not real.
Yeah.
Well, I also liked Calvin, but I had to go with Todd.
Todd
is Todd got the short end of all the stick.
Every stick possible.
Every stick. Todd was like a very nice kid who was quiet and did not really talk very much unless he really had something to say. Yes. Which I am a sucker for those kinds of people. Kevin, my husband, 100% one of those people that like does not talk unless he has something to say, and then when he says it, you better listen because it's usually pretty well thought out and pretty good. I'm a verbal processor.
Yeah.
So everything I say is garbage.
So fun.
Like, I'm thinking about this. Which Kevin occasionally says, I have to remind myself that you are a verbal processor. Thanks, babe.
That's one of my favorite things about us.
We're both
verbal processors. So we're talking about the weirdest, dumbest stuff when we're together. And others might be like, oh my gosh, like, what is this trauma dump? Or what is this? And why is it going all over the place? And we're like, oh no, we're just figuring things out.
Yeah. And by the end, we will have come to like a real conclusion.
Yeah.
Todd is not one of these people.
Todd is not that.
So Todd gets in trouble every day for teaching or for talking, which he doesn't really talk. And he gets sent home every day on the kindergarten bus.
Yep.
He has not ever been to class past noon.
Nope.
He just gets kicked out every day because he gets his 3 strikes. And then so he's in this class, and at one point, Joy, one of the other students, asks him some questions about where he is, and he's going nice and slow and methodically. And then finally, she's yelling, Todd, what are you doing? And so Todd whispers an answer to her, and Mrs. Jules hears him, puts him up on the board.
Done.
Then finally, they're sitting around, and somebody comes to rob
to burgle
the school.
The school.
Yeah. Confused that it might be a bank, considering apparently it looks like a skyscraper. And so Todd says, we don't have anything of value here except for knowledge, and gives them Joy's workbook.
Yeah.
Gives them another student's workbook, tells them, here you go. This changes their lives. One says, maybe I'll give up being a criminal and become a scientist. And they leave the room without hurting anybody. And then Joy gets upset that Todd has taken her workbook. Finally, she has to restart.
Yes.
Asks Todd what page he's on. He's only made it to page 8. And then Mrs. Jules hears him and literally sends him home, despite having Todd have saved them.
Yes.
From a burglar.
I freaking loved it.
Yeah. I did too.
Yeah. I have a little list of the pearls of wisdom that I got from this, and Todd's is on there. It's like, oh, I'm gonna just stop doing bad things and become a scientist. I think that's amazing.
Exactly.
Okay. This story really got me. It's the story of Sammy. And so it's raining, and all the kids come in, and
they all smell.
They all stink, which I mean, no offense,
Musty.
Children that are listening, which you shouldn't be. Their kids have a unique smell to them.
Yeah.
Like an outdoor dirt, sweat smell.
Yeah. And especially when it gets wet, it's very wet dog.
Yeah, but its own unique flavor.
Yeah.
Of wet dog.
Yeah.
Not that we don't love children. We're not comparing children to animals. In fact, I hold dogs in high regard. So
I will absolutely compare the children to animals.
So there's this new kid in class named Sammy, and he's layered up, can't even see him. And the teacher's like, homie, you smell so bad. I got to take this jacket off. And layer by layer, they take these jackets off. And Sammy's a horrible, horrible kid. He's saying the most out of pocket, awful things. So as the teacher is doing layer and layer, she's literally taking the jackets and throwing them out the window because the stench is so bad. She's having to cover her face. At one point, she had to stick her head out the window. And Sammy is saying things like, you're all a bunch of pigs, dirty, rotten pigs, insane. And you're ugly and just all of these things. It's so just out of pocket, wild. They keep going, and Sammy's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. He's 3 feet now, and now he's 2 feet. He's 1 foot. They get to the end, and Sammy's a dead rat. Just a dead rat that has reanimated.
Yeah.
Dressed itself in all of its clothes it's found in various garbages. Come up to this school, and the zombie rat is just having a field day.
Well, so they say dead rats are always trying to find their way to the class.
And there is a student at some point that disguises themselves as a dead rat using lunch foods.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, to try to go get the nice green ball that everybody wants.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was just like, I mean, as I was chuckling, I was literally chuckling as I was reading it and just being like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm here for it, Sammy.
I like that it was like almost painted like a conspiracy. Like there's this great conspiracy to get these dead rats in the classroom.
It was so crazy. And then the teacher like kind of just like threw it out.
Just yeets it out the window.
Yeets it out the window. I was like, that seems intense. So,
oh god.
But again, I was here for it.
I liked that one too. The Sammy one, I had forgotten the Sammy one. Some of these I did remember, but I had forgotten the Sammy one, which is weird because that's my name. I should have remembered it.
Yes,
but
we do try to only read books that include one of our names.
It's very true. A lot of Beths and Sams in these plots.
It's good times.
That one was a good one.
It was good.
Again, just so many dead rats trying to get up there.
Jeez Louise.
I also picked Mauricia, which is one of the ones I did the cocktails off of. She really liked ice cream, and my favorite thing was the description of her. She was sweet and pretty and could beat up any boy in Mrs. Jewell's class.
Yes.
I was like, get a girl.
Yeah.
It's like, she's like adorable, but also will fuck you up.
Yeah.
I loved it. So she really loves ice cream. And finally, Mrs. Jules brings her what she thinks is going to be the best ice cream of all time, but it has no flavor. And as a kid, I probably thought that was hilarious. As an adult, I wrote COVID. I was like, well, sorry, girl. Send her home. She got the Rona.
Seriously, that just happened to me. Like, because I accidentally got COVID. Not my fault.
Where? Tell the people
where. At a Limp Bizkit concert.
You're lucky that's all you got at a Limp Bizkit concert.
I was like, oh man, this is cool.
Fred Durst is here.
It was actually a fantastic concert. Halfway through, they were playing all these songs that I listened to, like when I was in my early 20s and like depressed in my like, I don't know, college apartment. And so I'm sitting there swaying, listening to these like heavy songs. I'm like, it's like muscle memory. I'm like, I feel so sad, but so good. It's like, so same feeling of like when you, there is something though, when you are craving ice cream or like a sweet treat.
Yeah.
Or the sweet treat that was once doing it for you no longer does it for you, and how frustrating that can be.
Yes. Or when you get like a version that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had like I had this like fantasy as a kid that the greatest dessert on earth would probably be a Boston cream pie. And then the first time I had a Boston cream pie, I was like, this sucks. Oh. This is so one note. Oh. And I was so sad.
So disappointed.
Yeah. So I get it. So she has this ice cream. It doesn't really taste like anything. And then they realize that's because it tastes like her and that's all she tastes, which is kind of weird.
It's a little strange.
Yeah.
I did this was one of the ones I was like, that's kind of different.
But sometimes somebody has like a really distinctive smell. So I just assume that's like, and not bad, not like, they reek, but they just like some combination of like their personal chemistry plus like their soap that they use or something. And so I just kind of like wrote it off like that. But then they go through 30 types of ice cream because it's all the kids get their own flavor of ice cream. And everybody gets to judge. So Mauricia starts where the only thing she likes is ice cream.
Yes.
But then it turns out she likes other people too.
Yes. She literally turns into a cannibal by the end.
Yeah, no, she and Todd are probably getting married. She really liked the flavor Todd. And every so often she tries to take a bite out of his arm when she just gets a hankering.
Jeez Louise.
You ever just bit someone because you liked their flavor?
Well, there is that thing of cute aggression, which I understand.
Oh, I love this. Have you the metal song about the cute aggression?
I have not heard the metal song.
Oh, there's a metal song that this guy sings. It's like cute aggression. It's all about how much he loves his cat and how he just wants to eat her toes.
Oh, I think I've seen that guy on TikTok. Yeah. I had never heard that term before a few years ago. And I remember when I would be not always around babies, but sometimes around like a baby that's just so cute. I just want to like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
But it's a whole thing.
A common feeling.
Yeah.
I feel that way sometimes around dogs and cats. I just want to nibble on their ears because they're so cute.
So cute. I do that with my cat Bubba all the time because he's so cute and I just like give him so many kisses. I would try it with Fratelli, but I don't want to lose an eye.
No, you should keep all of your limbs, which you will lose if you try to kiss Fratelli.
Now, speaking of cats, there's one character that in this book I did not appreciate.
Who's that?
Kathy. Kathy.
Oh,
Kathy.
Yes. Oh, I was like, holy shitballs on this one.
Literally, it starts out, Kathy doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't like you. She doesn't like anyone. She thinks you're stupid. You know, she thinks you're the dumbest moronic person in the entire world. She thinks you're ugly. You know, she thinks you're the ugliest person alive. And it's just like everything about her. She like, I hate everybody. I hate everything. At one point, she's talking about how she had a cat, but the cat hated her. So she ran away. She's like, I'm going to get another cat. And the next time I get a cat, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Then he'll never run away.
He'll never leave.
Like, it's giving Darla from Finding Nemo.
Yes.
It's giving somebody that would taxidermy their pet.
I put full psychopath. That's what I wrote. This is psychotic.
It was the whole thing. And she doesn't change. There's no evolution.
She has no character growth.
She has no character growth. Like, literally, someone offers her a cookie, and she's like, that's the most disgusting cookie I've ever had. Yeah. I hate you more, you know?
Well, the thing, she's like, oh, the cookie's going to taste terrible. And then she like leaves it in her desk for 3 weeks, and it goes stale. And she's like, ugh.
It is.
It's such a terrible cookie. Well, girl, no. Well, this is, I feel like this is an adult lesson right here.
This is a very adult
lesson.
That,
like, there are people in this world who will write their own self-fulfilling prophecies.
Oh, absolutely.
Of, like, doom and gloom.
Yes.
And you just got to avoid the Cathys in your life.
You know, I feel bad about this. And this shows my character as a person. But I have a friend from back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I have not talked to this person in years and years and years. But we remained friends on a social media platform.
Sure, as one does in this day and age.
And they like to post a lot about their life. Mm-hmm. And it is very much, they are not like to this level of hatred.
Yeah.
But they are to this level of like, everything is drama. Like everything they try to do in life is drama. Like something good will happen. And then the next post will be like how that good thing turned into a bad thing. And I actually like my FYP also is a little bit, there's a few people that are on there that like everything's a dramatic story. Yeah. Every twist and turn is dramatic. And it's like, I do not call that into my life. I don't have drama like that in my life.
No.
But I cannot stop watching it. Like I cannot stop like watching somebody that literally just sets themself up for failure every time. And it's just like.
Everyone loves a train wreck.
It's so fascinating to me because I'm like, they have to feed off of it. Like they get something from it. And I'm like, that's so interesting.
I have known a couple people that I finally, there are some people in my life who I finally said, you two need to quit talking because at this point, y'all, all you do is fight or you guys like get in, you know, these big dramatic, you know, entanglements. And at this point, you know, you say you don't like it, but you must. Because otherwise you wouldn't keep going back for this. And that's like 100% Kathy
it's like
she feeds off that negativity.
Freaking lives for the hate.
Yeah.
Which I'm a hater too. Like I drink that haterade all the time. But like I'm a sassy, like, you know, fun
still
haterade.
See positive things in life.
Yeah. Like I'm always going to talk a little shit. But it's not like necessarily mean. It's just like.
Observations.
It's observations.
Yeah.
It's like. You're being annoying, but it's not like intentionally to be like a hateful, spiteful person. But I don't know. Somebody that just I don't know how you can look at a cat and be like, I'm gonna kill that cat.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill that. Well, because I want to love it so much.
Because I want to love it so much, so it never leaves me. I'm gonna kill it.
Well, this is. She's gonna be a terrible parent someday.
I hope she never has children.
Well,
but she probably will have 10.
Yeah.
Kathy
and then want them to love her exactly as she loves them.
Oh my gosh, just so much dysfunction. Like a therapist's like not dream because nobody wants somebody to be sick.
Certainly wet dream.
Oh, stop.
So much insurance income from this.
Just
not only
generations.
Her children. Yes.
Yeah.
This is you write your meal ticket with this bad boy.
Gosh.
That's dark, but it is.
But it's right on.
Well, we can end with a positive one.
Okay. Yes.
Would you like to? We can wrap up with the most positive kid.
Yes.
DJ's my favorite. DJ. I think the rest of them are like the really like goofy kids are super cheeky.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd probably rather hang with them. DJ'd probably drive me nuts in the long run. But like. DJ's adorable. DJ has the biggest smile and he just smiles so much. And like he smiles so much that he causes Mrs. Jules to forget to put Todd on the discipline board. And she just is like lit up by his adorable smile. And then, you know, other people see him and they ask, what are you smiling? Or like they just can't help but be like, you're just like intoxicated by his happy smile. And some people are like a little suspicious. They're like, what are you laughing about? And he's like, I'm not laughing. And he just keeps on smiling. And finally, he ends by telling the recess teacher, Louis, Louis asks him, so like, what's up? Why are you smiling? You can tell me. You can tell me why you're so happy. And DJ tells him, you need a reason to be sad, but you don't need a reason to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote, DJ's the GOAT.
Yes. I work with someone like this, and it's incredible. And I don't talk to this person all the time. It's just like one of those work people that every once in a while you like cross paths. Never had a negative email from this person. Interaction, always positive. Like they even have like their pets are even the kind of dogs you would expect someone like that to have. Like they're just happy. Everything about them is just so happy and excited, and like they walk into the room and it's just like a breath of fresh air. And I'm like, you are an amazing rainbow sunbeam in this world of chaos and squalor. I love it. So I have some couple honorable mentions, and this is basically just there was a couple like just pearls of magic kid logic and wisdom. One of them was this kid named Joe who counts wonky.
Yes.
He isn't like the teacher's like count him. 1 to 10, and he'd be like 1, 15, 7, 8, 9, 3,
but he'd always get it.
But he'd always get it. And the teacher would be like, well, how many pencils are here? And he'd be like 8, 7, 4, 3, 5. Like he'd always land on the right answer. And he just says, somebody said, you got the right answer, but you counted the wrong way. And I'm like, you know what? Too much of our lives, we look at that. Like we try to force people into these boxes, man, where it's like, you got to do it this way in order to be successful. And success comes in all formats. You know, as what's that guy? Albert Einstein once said, you can't judge a fish for not knowing how to fly. Which is not how that phrase goes. And I don't know why I turned into the shower thoughts guy, but I did. So you're welcome.
Yeah, or like full Big Lebowski. Yeah, the dude.
Yeah. So anyway, it just made me like, oh, like as a kid, I would have loved to hear messages like that. I liked that kind of thing. Another one was Paul, I called him the pigtail guy. So
where the pigtails are like speaking to him.
Yes.
Follow me.
Paul sits behind this girl with these 2 long pigtails, and he's like, I gotta pull one of these pigtails. Like they're just saying, pull. It'd be so great. And he pulls one, and the girl's like freaking out, and he gets on the list, and he's literally debating like, well, if I pull the second one, I'll only be on the discipline list twice, so I'll still get to stay at school, and then it'll be done. And so he pulls it again, and he's just like, complete. And then something else happens. He doesn't pull again, but she screams, and then he gets sent home. But I was just like, that sensation, that overwhelming sensation of having to complete something is very real. Like, I don't know. It just, I was just like, yeah, I got you, bro. Like, I know what that's like when it's like, there's just an itch you can't scratch.
Yeah. I thought that one was funny. I liked that one.
Yeah.
I felt sad that he got sent home. I liked Rondi, the girl with the no teeth, where she was missing her 2 front teeth. And everybody kept talking about how like everything that she didn't do was like cuter than the things that were there. So it was like, your teeth are so cute. And she's like, I don't have teeth. Well, but like, that's what makes them so cute.
Yeah.
And then she, the joke she didn't tell, or but the end, it goes on circles like this. And then finally she just punches Louis in the stomach. There's a few of those where it's just like, and then the kid punched Louis. And then
it's just straight up violence against Louis. I love it when kids lose their teeth. I don't like it. Okay, let me take that back. I think the process of losing your teeth is disgusting as a child. The wiggliness, and when when a kid comes up to you and like there's like it's hanging on by like a little thread, and they're just going to town on it. Like there's nothing more disgusting. It's so weird. I once went to this guy's house. I was helping him pack for something, or I can't remember. We were hanging out, and I picked up this box and I shook it, and it was like kind of whatever. I opened it. It was every single one of his baby teeth. And a lot of them are like had cavities and just different things. And I was just like,
he kept them?
He kept all of them. And I was just like, it was such an ick. And I was just like, ew. Like,
no, put that away.
And I'm not, again, when I see everyone, it was everyone. We're not talking 5 teeth here. It was all of them.
Like all 30 or so.
It was molars, all of it. It was too much.
I did tell you about my friend from grad school mailing when she got her wisdom teeth pulled. She just mailed them in a bag. Or an envelope.
It was just very unique.
It was very unique. It cracks me up every time, and I don't know why. I still think it's hilarious.
I guess I can't say too much because I kept my wisdom teeth.
Did you?
Because one of them came out full. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to mount. And like, I know it's creepy.
To mount where?
to mount like in a little picture frame, like a shadow box as part of a. Listen,
Okay. I did pull a goat's tooth once, so I could cast it in silver.
Yeah.
It was a dead goat.
But it's just that kind of like dark academia like vibe I was trying to go for in my future office that had like some elements of like spooky, but not like too spooky. So it's like, oh, a tooth could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, anyway, overall, you said you had some feelings about this book at the beginning.
I remember thinking this was the most like hilarious, like absurdity and juxtaposition are always like my favorite forms of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking this was like rip-roaring, like side-splittingly funny.
Yeah.
And I read it now as an adult and I was like, I don't know what I was on. That being said, discussing these drunk with you has been hilarious. Yeah. So maybe I was just drunk all the time as a kid or high or something. But like,
I mean, kids are kind of
tiny drunk people, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like once you make a kid laugh once, game over. They're up.
No, and I definitely like there were still points that I like giggled at.
Yeah.
But also I was like kind of pissed off because Miss Jules was such a terrible teacher. Mm-hmm. And like I guess maybe at the time I was like kind of used to that. But
I think sometimes as an adult too, it's hard because you start seeing the like, they talk about these three boys, Eric, and Eric, and they call him one of them Fatso, even though he's not fat, and then
because the other two are fat,
because the other ones,
but one of them's like not fat at all. He's like super muscular,
and athletic, and it was just kind of like some of that. Like as a kid, I don't see it. And we've read other books before too, where it's like, we totally missed it. And then as an adult, you were like, oh, well, that's really could do damage. And, you know, you kind of start like putting it through the lens of like, oh, well, if I had a student and the teacher was being so cruel, I'd, exactly. Sometimes that lens gets in there of like, oh, let's protect people.
Yeah, I think that's honestly it. Because like reading it as a kid, I thought this was like hilarious.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, I was like, oh, some of that's less funny.
Yeah.
But I still liked it. I think it was fine. The fat phobia stuff was like the most that I picked out. I was like, well, this is kind of problematic. Oh, and the gaslighty teacher.
Yeah, and the Satanism.
You're right. That was really what I latched onto.
Yes,
was the Satanism present in chapter 1.
Yeah.
And that obviously reanimated dead rat.
Yes. I don't know. I liked this one.
I still liked it, but it was
good.
Different than when I as a kid, I was like, this was the funniest book I'd ever read.
I don't know. I rate this highly. Like, this is one of my favorite books we've read for humor and for like ease and for like not having to go too deep.
Yay.
And again, I really just loved some of these stories. So
good.
I think I would rate it like 9 out of 10 dead rats, man.
Damn it, you took my scale. I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 green kickballs because that's the most desirable of kickballs.
The most desirable.
It bounces 50 feet in the air. They said so.
Yeah, it was good. Well, spooky season is upon us.
Spooky season.
And so, and I have to say this.
I put tiny gel clings of pumpkins on my desk or on my door.
Oh, look at you. At school. Well, neither one of us likes scary stuff. However, my pick for October is a scary book called Scared to Death by, I'm going to butcher this person's name, but Johanna Malcolm.
Okay.
And this is from my own private collection of books that my mom had given to me in a box, which looked like a drug deal at a Best Buy one day. When she's like, I need you to take this box. And so I grabbed the box out of her trunk that had been sitting in storage for I don't know how many years. And it was like a treasure trove of memories and books. And this one was in there.
Nice.
I do not remember one thing about it. The front is terrifying.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty sure I got it at a Scholastic Book Fair. So I'm very, very excited for our October read. I'm hoping that it does not disappoint.
I am not looking forward to it at all, but I will read it. If you're enjoying Boozy Book Reports and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Boozy Book Reports, or leave us a positive review and rating. All of those things help us grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you and happy reading.